Hello, 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 everyone. My name is Linda Peavy. I'm the owner of LaPav Consulting, LLC, and I'm going to be your hostess today, and we are going to talk about how to get you grants as women-owned businesses and even women-led nonprofits. So come on in to the webinar and join me. I am coming at you from Ohio, where it is about 40 degrees, so no complaints. It could be like a lot colder because people who know Ohio know that we could have a foot of snow on the ground. So let me know in the chat where you're coming in from, where you're joining me from. Give your city or your state a shout out. Again, I'm Ohio. I want to see who's here with me. Again, my name is Linda Peavy. I'm the owner of LaPav Consulting. I'm going to be your hostess for today. And we got Virginia with us. We've got Goshen, Indiana, Texas. Hey, Toledo. I lived in Toledo for 3 years. Hey, Cleveland. I'm in Northeast Ohio, right outside of Cleveland. That's my hometown. And we are, wow, look at, is it Kotzebue? Oh, I bet I butchered that name. In Alaska, our beautiful state, Alaska. Florida, California, Oklahoma, Minnesota, Houston, Atlanta. The ATL is in the house. South Florida, Clearwater, Florida. Oh, Florida is representing today. Someone else from Atlanta, Columbus, Georgia. Oh, Colorado Springs. Oh my gosh, Colorado. I went to the top of Pikes Peak, just so you know, Alexis. Tifton, Georgia, California. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, my name is Linda Peavy. I'm going to be your hostess for today. And I'm going to teach you how you can get free money, free grant money as a woman-owned business or even as a woman-led nonprofit. So one of the first things I'm going to do is share my screen, because those of you who know me know that this is going to be truly a no fluff zone. We're going to go fast and furious. I have so much information to share with you. Don't worry, this is being recorded. Again, don't worry if you miss anything. This is being recorded. So the first thing I'm going to do is share my screen. So it's like, come through technology, come through. I'm going to share my screen. There we are. And the first thing you're going to see is just a little 30-second TV commercial of mine. It will just give you a better idea of who I am, what I do, and how I serve organizations. So we're off to the races.
Hi, I'm Linda Peavy, owner of LaPav Consulting. My passion is to place your organization on the path to excellence. Are you struggling to communicate your message, reach target audiences, or secure funding? From marketing communications to grant writing, we achieve your goals. We've worked with high-profile clients and have secured $17 million in funding for charter schools and nonprofits. Call today to discuss what your success looks like and how LaPav Consulting can help.
All right, so that's a little bit more about me. I want to make sure everybody's in the right place today. Grant writing for women-owned businesses. This is the noon session. I have one more session this evening at 7 p.m. So if you know anyone who want to join us this evening, I'll give you the link at the end of the webinar. So a little bit more about me. I am known as the Grant Queen. Why? Because first of all, this is the 15th year of owning my own business, LaPav Consulting. And for most of those 15 years, I've been writing grants. And I am so blessed to say that I've been able to secure over $17 million in funding and business development. And you know that there's a difference right between securing and writing the grants. I've been able to actually get the bag for so many of my clients, over $17 million. I've written those requests for proposals. I've been hired to do the scoring of grant applications. I've developed partnerships and relationships with organizations. And I also provide grant writing workshops for organizations across the country, the Urban League, the Council of Smaller Enterprises, and many others. And I was also a former executive director of a nonprofit. So first of all, a little bit of housekeeping. Please do ask your questions. Place your questions in either the chat or the Q&A at the end. Don't go anywhere because we're going to do a robust Q&A at the end. All right, so don't worry, you're going to get your question answered. So we're going to wait until the end and make sure we get all of the questions in it. Make sure you get all of the information I have to share with you. Now, I mentioned before, I'm the former executive director of a nonprofit. So I want to know who's on the webinar with me. Are you a small business or are you a nonprofit? Or what I'm finding is that you have a lot of for-profit businesses that are starting nonprofits. So maybe you're both. So let me know if you are small business or nonprofit, or maybe you're both. So let me know who's with me today. Small business, oh, both, Hazel, both. Joy is nonprofit, Sheila is both. Excellent. Small business, both. Nonprofit, want to start my own business, excellent. Oh, Ruth has a startup, small business, both, excellent. So what you need to know is this information is going to be important for everyone, whether or not you're a nonprofit or small business. So a little bit about my journey to how I got to being able to secure the $17 million. I used to be a publishing executive for a publishing house in Pennsylvania. I got hurt. And after 10 years, I had to come home to Cleveland. I literally came home in a wheelchair. I couldn't even walk. It took me 2 years to recuperate. After the 2 years, I couldn't find a job. I had all this experience in publishing and marketing. Well, if you can imagine, right, Cleveland is not like the publishing mecca of the country. So I couldn't find a job. And that's when I started LaPav Consulting. And so I want to know from you, those of you who have your own businesses, did you start like me out of necessity because I like to eat and I needed a roof over my head? Or was it like this lifelong dream that you had? So let me know, like, was it something that you really, you found that you had to do, or was it a dream? So let me know in the chat, what was it for you? Was it, oh, my dream, I'm just starting, excellent, excellent. And, oh, we got some dreamers with us. Excellent. Okay, turn 50 and no longer want to work in corporate America. Oh, I hear you, I hear you, I hear you. Really want to help ladies, natural pathway culminated from various industry experiences. A dreamer, we've got some dreamers, a little bit of both, right? And sometimes it is a little bit of both. Well, let me tell you what happened. So I started LaPav Consulting, and my first major contract was to be a nonprofit executive director. Started the job, literally the first week I was called into the board office. And I was told that I had to write a grant to literally save my job. I had to write a grant to save the salary of the executive director, which saved the organization. Now, of course, they didn't tell me this when I was interviewing, but all of a sudden, I had to learn how to write grants. I hardly knew what a grant was. I was in publishing and marketing, but guess what? I found out, and I wrote the grant, and I saved my job, and I saved the organization. And what it did, it allowed me to understand that there is free money available out here, but you have to know how to write, you have to know what to write, and you have to know that there is a process. There is a process, and that is what I'm going to teach you today, is the process that you need to implement to be able to be successful at getting grants, because I know so many of you have tried before and you've received those ugly rejection letters. Well, I'm going to help you through that. What are we going to cover today? Why are you taking this class? 3 keys to funding, the philanthropic landscape, grant basics. How do you prepare to write a grant? What do you write? How do you write? And how do you attract the perfect funder? Then we're going to talk just a little bit about bid proposals and capacity statements or capability statements. And then we're going to talk about really, how do you get that application noticed, right? We're going to do some grant research, and I'm going to give you a list of available grants for you right now, okay? So buckle up and get ready. So why this class? Well, look, we know as entrepreneurs and even as nonprofit leaders, we need help. We need funding other than loans, right? We know that there are loans available, but there's also free money available that you don't know about. And also grant writing, the skill, it can be costly. Like a professional grant writer like myself, I've secured $17 million. We charge anywhere between $100 to $200 an hour to write grants. But guess what? You can learn the skill to place your organization in the best position to win grants. Why pay a grant writer when, guess what? You can tell the story yourself, and no one can tell your story better than you. But this is what I want you to know. You don't have to be a professional grant writer to get grants. You have to know the process. And I'm here to teach you the process. Now, two incidents completely changed the landscape of philanthropy. One was COVID-19, right? So when COVID-19 happened, you know as well as I do, so many businesses that had to close, so many, especially small businesses, women-owned businesses. And so major foundations and major corporations said, we have to do something. We're seeing all of these small businesses close their doors, nonprofits close their doors. What can we do? So many foundations and major corporations started pooling money and making sure that it was set aside specifically for small businesses. That's why now, more than ever before, and I've been doing this for 15 years, I have never seen the amount of money that is available right now, especially for women-owned businesses, right? And so now you have opportunities that you've never had before. Now, when you see some of the COVID-19 grants that are still available, by the way, you want to make sure that you address how it affected you. Did you have to close your doors? Did you have to lay off staff? How did it change you? So make sure if you come across any of those COVID-19 grants, you need to talk about how COVID-19 affected you. Now, the other incident was the George Floyd incident, right? After George Floyd was killed, once again, you had foundations and major corporations saying, we have to do something about racial injustice in this country. We have to. And what did they do? Because what did they have available to them was money. And so they said, we're going to put forth money towards racial injustice. What you might have heard is DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion, or any socially conscious causes. So once again, you have so much grant money available coming from foundations, coming from corporations, for nonprofits and small businesses that are somehow addressing racial injustice or any socially conscious causes. And that could mean the homeless, poverty, literacy issues. So once again, especially for small businesses and especially for Black-owned businesses, there is so much money available to you. But once again, what do you need to know? You need to know the process. Now we're going to talk a little bit about grant basics. What you just need to know is that grants are not paid back, right? For you nonprofits, this is critical. You must get your 501c3. What is it? That is your tax-exempt charitable organizational status given by the IRS. It also means that anyone that provides donations to you can write off those donations as tax deductible on their tax forms. But this is why it's important. Most foundations will only give money to a 501c3, right? So you have to get it. Now, some of you have fiscal agents, and what I always say is that if at all possible, please avoid fiscal agents. One, because foundations, they want to make sure they're giving the money directly to you. They don't want a third party handling the money, right? So a fiscal agent is an organization that already has their 501c3, and they are literally receiving grant money on your behalf. So if you apply for a grant, the money goes to the fiscal agent, and then the fiscal agent has to give the money to you. Well, that's exactly why foundations don't want to deal with fiscal agents, because if they're giving you grant money, they want it to go to you directly. They don't want any third-party organizations involved at all. Here's the good news. It used to take literally 3 to 6 months to get your 501c3. Right now, it's taking 6 to 8 weeks. 6 to 8 weeks. So whatever you do, please, this is your first homework for you nonprofits. If you don't have your 501c3, get your 501c3 process started. You are going to need it to get grants. And I'm only speaking to nonprofits. You don't need a 501c3 if you're a for-profit business. Now, next we're talking about grant basics. Look at the annual funding. Foundation giving, and this is just from foundations, right? In 2021, increased their giving to $90.88 billion. That was an increase from 2020. And guess what? When 2022 comes around, it's going to be even higher. Look at this amount, ladies. Look at this amount, $90.88 billion. Do you need all of that money? I don't need all of that money. You just need a little bit of that money to do your work, right? To do your dream, to open your dream, to help people. Just a little bit. I want you to put into the chat. I just need a little bit, right? We just need a little bit of $90 billion. We don't have to be greedy. We don't need it all. We just want a little bit. So put into the chat. I just need a little bit. Teeny bit. Hazel says just a teeny bit, right? That's all we need. Just a teeny bit of $90 billion, right? Just a little bit of $90 billion. Well, guess what? I am here to show you, one, the money is available, ladies. It's not as if the money is not available. It is available. Too many people thought that there would be no giving or giving would go down during the pandemic. No, it increased. And typically when you go through that type of, worldwide crisis, believe it or not, giving increases. All right, so now we're going to talk about how do you prepare to write grants. Too many people look at grant applications, download them, and they start writing. No, you have to prepare for the process of writing grants. Now, what I always like for people to do is just hone up on your writing skills. There's 5 basic writing skills. We're only going to do with editing and rewriting. Why? Because I don't want you to submit an application that is full of grammatical errors, right? It's too hard to read, and oftentimes you'll get rejected because people don't want to read that. I love Grammarly. So Grammarly is a software editing tool, right? You need to download Grammarly. If anybody is using Grammarly, please put into the chat that you're using Grammarly. It is phenomenal. And guess what? You're going to hear this a lot tonight. I'm going to be giving all kind of tea today, okay? Grammarly is free, 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 free. You're going to hear that word throughout this webinar, free. Now, this particular article, Improve Writing Skills Dramatically by Doing These 15 Things Will Make You a Better Writer. Like, I'm a professional editor. I'm a professional writer. And this article still helped me, so I know it can help you. So make sure this is your homework. Download this article from Grammarly, our friends at Grammarly. You're going to be a better writer. Now, I use the professional version of Grammarly, which is about $120, I think, a year, but the free version is fine. So if you use Grammarly, let everybody know whether or not you're using it. Yes, Arona says, I use Grammarly and it's great, isn't it? It's like incredible. It's an incredible tool. Now, we're preparing to write grants. You need to get your documents in order. What is an EIN? That's your employer identification number that you're going to need. If you're a nonprofit, you need the 501c3. Don't use a fiscal agent. Now, especially for you small businesses, please make sure you have your certificate of incorporation, your articles, your bylaws, and your state certification, which is your business license. I tell this story all the time. I was giving this webinar last year. A young lady came on. She said, Linda, this is so true. I was applying for a grant. The competition was stiff, right? She said, I was the only one that got the grant because I had my state certification to prove that legally I was allowed to do business in that state. So more homework for you. Make sure you go to your Secretary of State's website, okay? Your Secretary of State's website, that's where you have to go. Put in your name, make sure that you have a current business license so that you can do business within your state, all right? What else do you need? Your list of board members, your staff. Letters of support become so important. And you're doing it before you write the grant because you're giving people time to write them, right? Who are they coming from? What are they? They're letters to say that people believe in your organization or your nonprofit or your business and they support you. They could come from your vendors if you're already operating. They could come from your church, your pastor, your community leaders, right? Politicians, anyone that can give you a great word about your reputation and the work that you're doing to say you deserve this grant. Now, some grants, some applications will ask for an audited financial statement. That's really if you've been in business. And just make sure if it's requested, this should come from a CPA. This is critical. This needs to come from a CPA if it is required. Typically, I don't see it, but there are applications that do require it. Now, your current operating budget. Some of you that are startups may think, well, I haven't started, I don't need a budget. You must have a budget. Why? Because you need to know how much this endeavor is going to cost you. You need to know exactly how much it's going to cost you to open up this business or nonprofit. And once you create that budget, you start to see gaps. And those gaps are where you need to be applying for grant money. So let's say you complete the operating budget and you see, okay, I've got money for the building or the lease. I can pay for a few staff members, but oh my gosh, I don't have any money for advertising. Okay, so that means you need to write a grant for advertising, right? So the operating budget is great for whether or not you are a seasoned organization or if you're a startup. Also, list any other funding sources. This is important, even if it's in-kind donations, other grants that you have, other donations. Why? Because no foundation wants to be the only organization that's funding you, right? Because we know grants are guaranteed. So if they give you money in 1 year and they don't give you money in year 2, they don't want you to feel as if they're putting you out of business. They want to know that you're getting support from a number of different organizations. So don't be shy. If you're getting support in the form of grants or, again, those in-kind donations, put that in the grant application. It's going to be important. Now we're talking about, what do you write? What's in a typical grant application? I'm going to go through this list and then we're going to go through these one by one. Your summary abstract, mission, vision, history, leadership, describing your organization, your statement of need or your target market. You're describing your whatever your program or project is, your community partnerships, your outputs, outcomes, impact, your program project staff, your board, right? Your budget, sustainability. These are the typical components that you'll see in a grant application. All right, let's get started. Make sure you're putting your questions in the Q&A and the chat. Summary abstract, this is what you need to know. It's going to be the first part of the grant application, but you always write it last. Don't be tricked. Don't be tripped up. All right. You want to write it last because you are going to put in the most compelling components of that grant application. So you'll see it first, always write it last. Your mission vision statement, right? All of you should have a mission, but do you have a vision statement? And if you don't, this is more homework. Create a vision statement. You are going to be asked for it on your grant application. What is it? We know the mission is, this is what you're doing now, your aims, your goals, but your vision is what you would like to have happen in the future if you are implementing your mission statement, right? Now, the mission is so critical because you want to align it to your funder, right? So if you are focused on K through 12 education, you want to make sure that foundation or the funder or the company that you're seeking grants from is also focused on K through 12 education. So make sure you're aligning your mission to the mission of where you're seeking money, okay? That is critical. Next, you want to talk about the history of your organization. And I get this question a lot because new startups think, oh, I'm new, I don't have a history. Every organization has a history, right? So let's think about a former principal. She's starting a tutoring company. She used to be the principal of a high school. You might think, okay, this is a startup. She hasn't even opened her doors yet. How does she have a history? Well, guess what? She was a principal at a high school, right? And she saw that those kids were underperforming in math and reading, and she wanted to do something about it. So that experience was the impetus for her starting her tutoring organization. So think about what made you start the nonprofit. What made you start your for-profit organization? And that impetus becomes part of the history. Leadership, that's just your executive leadership. That could be your CEO, your COO. Just include your board because your board of directors, that's a part of your organizational leadership too. Next, you're going to describe your organization. You're going to talk about like your track record of working with whatever the target population is. So for that particular tutoring organization, the principal, well, her track record is she was a principal, right, of a high school. So she has experience working with kids that are 9 through 12, her in grades 9 through 12. Her tutoring company is going to tutor kids in grades 9 through 12. So she has some history there of working with her target population. So you want to talk about this as you're describing your organization. And of course, you want to talk about what success rates you've had, what your success factors have really been. So this is where you really want to talk up your organization. Next, you want to talk about your statement of need. What is the problem? And I say this to everybody, there is always a problem that you are resolving. It doesn't matter what you are, what you're doing. And I like to use the example of a restaurant, a bakery. She wanted to locate in a downtown area, right? You might think, well, she's making cupcakes and cookies. Like, what problem is she solving? Well, she wants to locate in a downtown municipality. The other locations or the other stores and retail shops that have been in that location failed. That's why it's open. That's why she has the opportunity to move in there. So guess what? By her opening up her restaurant, she's contributing to the economic development of her community, right? She wants to service businesses, right? So she's helping businesses to impress their clients by being able to provide these, amazing baked goods to their clientele. So you always think about what you're doing in terms of an issue that you're resolving. Let's say you have a service business and it's about career development. You're helping people that have been maybe fired or they left their jobs, right? What are you helping them with? Well, they might need a new job, or maybe they want to start their own business. They want to become an entrepreneur. Either way, the problem is you have all these talented people who are not utilizing their skills in the job market. So the job market that's out there is void of these people's talents, right? So you're helping these people find their futures. That is a real problem that you're helping to solve. Always look at what you're doing in terms of what issue am I addressing? And whatever that issue is, that's how you find your perfect funder, because you want to make sure that that funder is also concerned about the same interests. That's how you match up what you're doing with making sure you're seeking money from the right foundation or funder. Now, here's the thing. How do you find information out about your funder? You go to their website? Yes. Well, guess what? 90% of foundations don't have a website. I'll say that again. 90% of foundations do not have a website. So how do you find information about them? Well, I'm giving you more tea. The 990 form. So the 990 is a document that foundations have to submit. It is their tax form, right? So you get the 990, you can find out information about the executive leadership, maybe the board. But when you scroll down to the back of the 990, there's a document that will tell you where that nonprofit donated funds to. You look for organizations similar to yours. So let's say you have an equestrian program where you're helping veterans by having them nurture horses, for example. Well, you want to look to see, is there any other organization that they gave to where pets are concerned, where they're helping heal a segment of society? And if you see another organization that's similar to yours, you know you're on the right track. That may be your funder. How do you get the 990? You could pay for membership of many different websites that will give you access to 990s. But what did I say at the beginning? Free, free, free. I'm giving you free access to this particular website. It is called projects.propublica.org/nonprofits/. You go to projects and you will be able to download the 990 for free of any organization that has filed, right? Free, free, free. We love free. So 990s are gold mines. Do not sleep on them. Next, we talk about your target population. Who are you helping? This is an issue that I hear all the time. I help everybody. I want to help everybody. You can't help everybody. You need to think about who your ideal customer is. We call it avatars, right? Your ideal customer, who would be most helped, not maybe, but most helped by what you do, right? Maybe your organization is geared towards gender. It's for women. Maybe it's based on ethnicity. It's for African Americans. Maybe it's based on income. Maybe you serve those that live below the federal poverty line. Maybe it's based on age. Maybe your program is geared towards senior citizens. You have to determine your target population. Why? Because that is how you find your funders, because they are giving based on a particular demographic, right? So if you're helping veterans, you want to go to a funder that gives money to organizations that help veterans, right? Or maybe you're targeting a particular geographical region. Maybe it's just local, or maybe it's nationwide. Whenever you start looking at your demographics and doing research, go to the census.gov quick facts. Again, free website where it will tell you about geographical regions, the unemployment rate, the educational attainment rate, the age rate, the level of poverty in the community. Is absolutely great. I use it all the time, and it is free. Again, we like free. Now, this is really about telling your story, because at the end of the day, you are selling your organization to this foundation or this funder. What I don't want you to do is make yourself the hero of the story. The hero of your story is always going to be who you're helping. It's going to be your target population. Why? Because that's where the transformation takes place. The transformation takes place with those 9 through grade 12 kids that are now getting tutoring so that they can be up to grade level in math and reading and graduate from high school and go on to college or take a trade or go to the military. That's where the transformation takes place. The transformation takes place in that person that came to you because they needed help in career development. They went to you. Now they have a clear vision of what they want to do and what they want to be and how they want to shift. That's where the transformation takes place. So when you're writing, keep in mind, you need to talk about who you're serving, because that's where the real change is going to take place. At the end of the day, are you telling your story the best? Those of you who have written grants, are you just copy and pasting information, or are you really telling your story? Are you talking about how you changed lives? What outcomes were achieved? You have to appeal to emotions, right, when you're writing these grants. And in order to do that, you use real examples, testimonials, case studies. The best way to do that is using video. I say this all the time. Everybody knows, like, I'm an Android girl, but if you have that iPhone, you can have your customer put that phone in front of them and literally 1 minute talk about how, oh my gosh, these were the best cupcakes I've ever tasted in my entire life. Or talk about how this person changed my life. I thought I wanted to go into this career and I realized I need to go into that career. All right. It's so easy. It doesn't have to be expensive. If you have a webinar on the home page of your, website, if you have a website on the home page of your website, you should have a video, a testimonial video. Doesn't have to be long, 1 minute, right? Or if you want to create a professional video, that's fine too. Just make sure it really shouldn't be more than 2 or 3 minutes, right? Don't sleep on videos. Make sure you're using videos on the homepage of your website. All right, now you have a decision to make. When you apply for grants, are you applying for operating dollars or program project dollars, right? What's the difference? If you just need operating support, you decide where you want the grant funding to go. Maybe it's to pay for the lease. Maybe it's to pay for IT. Maybe it's to pay for staff. You decide. Or maybe you have a particular program or project that you want funded. Let's take the bakery. Maybe she wants to start a home delivery service and she wants money for that particular project. What you need to know is that where you place the money really has to be based on your greatest needs. And keep in mind, most foundations don't give operating dollars. Why? Because it's less control for them, because you decide where to put the money, right? But if it's a specific program or project, then you have to make sure that you're applying that money to that particular project that you're talking about in the grant. So just think about, are you new and you need infrastructure? Maybe you need operating dollars because you need a little bit of money for everything. Or maybe you have your eye on a particular project that's a part of your organization. Next, we're talking about how you're writing, like how are you writing? You're describing your project or your service. Again, how have you been successful? If you have a track record, if it's something new, why will it be successful? That tutoring service, the principal, she's going to be using project-based learning for her grade 9 through 12 students. Well, she has to be able to prove that project-based learning helps those students that are in grades 9 through 12 in an urban community. You have to do research to make sure whatever it is that you're wanting to utilize is proven to be successful. But no matter how you talk about your project or your service, you have to talk about how it's resolving some issue or some problem, because that is really what the grantor, the funder, wants to see. Now, community partnerships are critical. And too many for-profit organizations get scared of this term because they think, oh, I have to share my business with someone, or the agreement has to involve money. It does not, okay? Think about what other organizations are you partnering with. This is so important because this component has been on almost every grant application I've seen in the last 5 or 6 years, because organizations want you to work with other organizations to be successful. Third-party vendors could be community partners, right? If you are a new organization, this becomes particularly important that you connect with some seasoned organization in the community. I'll give you an example. I was writing a grant many years ago for a third grade class. They wanted to teach these kids the violin. This was an small urban school. We were partnering with the Cleveland Orchestra, like clearly one of the greatest orchestras in the world. And they were going to come after school and teach these third graders violin. Can you imagine what that looks like on a grant application, that you're this little tiny urban school, but you're partnering with the great Cleveland Orchestra? You can partner with universities, other women's business organizations, Greek organizations, the YMCA, the YWCA, the Boys and Girls Club. It goes on and on. Think about that bakery. She's going to partner with an event planner. No money is exchanging hands, no money. She's going to hand out flyers, make sure she has flyers in her bakery of the event planner. The event planner is going to make sure that when she has her events, that she's sending people to the bakery, or she's using the bakery, right, to support her services. So you can support other community organizations without there being an exchange of money. But this is really important. I want you to think about those organizations. This is more homework. Think about community organizations that you can partner with. It will just be a tremendous benefit to your organization. Now comes the point of the grant where you need to show your funder how you're going to use the money and how that money is going to make a change in your organization. There's outputs, outcomes, and impact. Sometimes the grant application will ask for one, sometimes it will ask for all three. So what are outputs? That's immediate results. You give me the money, this is what's going to happen. The outcomes usually take place anywhere between 6 months to a year down the road. Because of the outputs, I have these outcomes, right? Impact is usually at least a year out. So because of the outcome, I'm going to experience this impact. And because of the outcome, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to have this impact at least a year from now. I'll give you an example. You had a daycare center that wanted $20,000 to open. Now you're forecasting, you're saying, this is what I predict is going to happen if you give me the money. You give me $20,000, I'm going to be able to open up my daycare center. I'm going to serve 100 families and 250 children. 6 months down the road, we forecast that we're going to grow by 40% because we chose the optimum location. We're going to add 24/7 services, right? Now, because we grew by 40% and because we added 24/7 services, in a year, this is what's going to happen. 25% of our families will experience less stress. Why? Because they can drop their kids off 24/7, like wouldn't you? 65% of children demonstrated improved behavior because of our fantastic educational program for kids. And a year from now, because of everything else that took place, we're going to expand to 2 locations. So you're doing a little bit of forecasting here, but I want to make sure you understand all 3 because many applications ask for all 3. Now, you might have heard of SMART goals. You will be asked to create SMART goals. What are they? They're goals that are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. We'll go through one example. Now, let's say I have a program and my goal is I want to reduce the poverty rate in Cleveland. Well, that's a massive goal, right? Like, how do you measure that? Look how I turned it into a SMART goal. I want to reduce the poverty rate by 5% in Cleveland for Hispanic children under the age of 5 within a 5-year time frame. How did I change the goal from a broad goal to a narrow SMART goal? I added data and stats, right? So that's what you do. Also, you're going to need assessment tools because you're going to be able to demonstrate, well, this is how I can prove that the money is working. You can do surveys of the people that you're helping, like the restaurant can do a survey. You can do testing. That particular teacher can use the test results of those 9th through 12th graders to see where they were when they started the tutoring and where they were after. Or you can do follow-up interviews with people that you've helped, right? The person that you were able to place in a particular job market. You can interview that person like 6 months down the road to see how he or she is doing. So this is just some of the data that you want to be able to use, and then some assessment tools that can help you measure your results. Other things you want to write about: the staff that's leading whatever the project or program or service is. Now, many of you, especially if you are for-profit owners, you probably haven't updated your resume or updated your bio like in years. You need to do that because you're going to need to submit an updated bio and an updated resume with your grant application, okay? Why is this important? Because the funder wants to see who are you putting in charge of these various services. Oversight is key. Why is it important? It's all about accountability. And who are you making accountable to you for the project? Or maybe you're in charge of the project. Either way, the funder wants to know that information. Now we talk about the budget. What you need to know is that you have to itemize your expenses. So let's say you want $40,000 to hire an executive director over the project. You can't just put that down. You have to be specific. The $40,000, for how long is it? Is it a 6-month contract? Is it a year? Is this person going to be a W-2 employee or a 1099 contractor, right? If you want to hire personnel, are they going to be W-2 employees or will they be those 1099 contractors? And if you're paying them, how much are you paying them? Is it $20 an hour? Is it $40 an hour? For how many weeks, right? You want to put this information in the budget narrative, right? Because there you're talking about how you're using the funding, right? But whatever you do, whatever amount of money you ask for, you make sure that you connect it back to the goal of the program, right? So if you're asking for $40,000 for an executive director, you need to talk about how that ED is going to help implement whatever the program is. Okay, so be sure you fill out that budget narrative. Now, this is a fun area, sustainability. We know that grants are not guaranteed. If you get a grant in year 1, doesn't mean you're going to get a grant in year 2, right? So you're going to be asked, how do you sustain the program, right? Because you may not get money in year 2. You use the money to open up in year 1, but you may not get the money. So in year 2, how are you going to keep the program going? I want you to think about that high school, right? The high school, they got the $20,000 to start the tutoring service. Year 1, they get the money. Year 2, they have to come up with a way to still make money to pay the $20,000. I want you to put into the chat, think about this. It's a high school. How can a high school come up with ways to make money so that they can afford their tutoring program in year 2, the year that they didn't get the grant? So put into the chat, think about this. It's a high school. What are some of the ways that a high school, excellent, Adeline, fundraising, perfect. They could say, look, we're going to start some fundraisers. So, you don't have to worry about this in year 2. We have a plan. We're going to donut fundraising, Ebony. Yes, Ebony is making me hungry. Car washes, perfect, right? A bake sale, Crystal. Yes. How about a fashion show, a talent show? Natasha, major donors. Wanda, popcorn sales. Exactly. You have to be creative when you think about ways in which you can still say to this funder, in year 2, our program is still going to survive because we're going to come up with ways that we can match the amount of money that the grant supported. So you have to write those alternative fund development ways into the program. Now, I want to spend 1 minute on bid proposals because many of you, especially the for-profit businesses, you're going after government contracts. It could be local, county, state. And I get many questions about bid proposals. So what you just need to know when you're filling it out is that you want to focus on your capacity. Do not think that if you write in the smallest bid, you're going to get chosen. Whatever you do, don't underbid, right? Because if I'm a contractor and I put out a bid proposal to create a wall, I have some idea of what that wall is going to cost. So if I know it should cost about $1 million and you give me a proposal of $50,000, I know you're not ready. I know you're not experienced, and I know you're not qualified. So really think about ways in which you can make your bid proposal shine by focusing on experience with similar jobs. Maybe you can say, look, I've built 1,000 walls before. I have the experience. I have the staff that are qualified. Talk about how you can go above and beyond. Maybe it's scheduling. Maybe you can say, look, I have never missed a deadline, right? I've built 100 walls in the past and I've always come under schedule. So really talk about ways it's going to make you shine and not so much focus on putting in the smallest amount for the bid. Many of you will be asked for a capability statement, especially as for-profits. It's really a document that talks about your marketing abilities, about your business, about your capabilities and your skills. Usually, if you ask for one, keep it to one page. If it's two, just make it double-sided. Use bullets. Talk about your core competencies and your capabilities, okay? Differentiators. What's making you different? Maybe you have a state-of-the-art facility. Maybe you have the latest, greatest equipment. Talk about your past performance, right? That is what is going to get you noticed. And then, of course, you want to include your different corporate data and your contact information. All right, back to grants. So many of you have a business plan and you think, well, I've got a business plan. How do I convert this to a grant proposal? Or I have a grant proposal and they also need a business plan. Well, they're almost the same. So if you have the information for one, you're going to have most of what you need to at least create a template for the next. Your executive summary, that's clear on a business plan and a grant proposal. Your company description, grant proposal, you can put that in the business plan. Market analysis, that's going to be on both, because in the grant proposal, you're talking about your target market. Of course, you're going to talk about your products, your services, whatever programs you have, that's going to be in both. You'll get that from the grant proposal. The only thing that's new in business plans, they will ask you for a marketing plan. And that is what is not in a grant proposal. So you'll need to create a marketing plan. Everything else is the same. Management and organization, you'll talk about that in both. You'll need your financial documents, your balance sheet, your profit and loss proposal, or rather your profit and loss statement. You'll have both of those, right, when you provide your financial statements, because many grant applications will ask you for your financial statements. So make sure they're in order. And then, of course, both documents require a budget. So, don't get freaked out if you need a budget, or whether you need a business plan and you have a grant proposal, or you have a business plan and you need that grant proposal. You can get data from one to definitely complete the other. For a template, grant proposals, very important. They're all different. Answer each question. But if you have a business plan, it's going to give you a lot of information that you will need for the proposals. It'll cut down on your work. This is really about making sure that you do things correctly before you write a single syllable in that grant application. I tell people all the time, this is truly about a mindset of winning the grant. And that may sound, hokey, but it's true. If you go into grant writing thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to do it. It's 1,000 pages. I can't. No, that's not how you proceed. You proceed from a mindset of winning, because people are winning grants every day. People that look like you, people with other women organizations, women-led organizations, women-owned organizations, they're getting free grant money every single day, right? And it's not as if they're any better than you. You just have to put yourself in the game, right? Because if you don't write, you don't win. It's as simple as that. And just so you know, grant applications are no longer these 200-page dissertations, right? Especially for-profits. I've seen grant applications that literally 3 to 4 pages. But do this, please, in a community of support. Don't do this by yourself. Make sure you're writing grants in a community of support so you have the opportunity to ask questions, right? And get help. You want to position yourself for success. I know you want to make a difference and help clients and solve problems. But yes, you're going to do a little bit of the work, right? The time, the effort, the research, because it's going to pay off, right? You're going to finally be able to open and start that company that has been a dream forever, right? And you're going to be able to do with somebody else's money, okay? Maybe you want to just operate successfully. Maybe you're tired of bootstrapping. Maybe you're tired of asking people for money or family and friends for money, right? Maybe you just want to expand your operations. These are ways in which free grant money can help you to accomplish these things. If you take away nothing else from this conversation, this is the most important thing here. Whatever you do, please meet with the funder first. Please, please, please. It will make the difference as to whether or not you get the grant. I've been in meetings where I've heard foundation leaders say, look, if I have these applications and no one has called me, has emailed me, has telephoned me, those applications are probably going to end up in the trash. Now, that's not true for every foundation. Some foundations don't even want you to contact them. They're like, just print it out, fill it out, and send it to me. I don't want to talk to any of the applicants. That's fine. But if you have the opportunity, reach out and set up that meeting, because in that meeting, you're going to learn information that they never put on the website. They're going to learn information about you that's not on your website that they can't get from anywhere else. And if they like you, I've been in too many meetings where this has happened, they will guide you into what you put in that application so that you can get approved. That's why meeting with them is so important. All right, these are just some of the do's. Please, please, please adhere to timelines. Please, if the portal closes at 4:59, please don't think you're going to submit that application at 5 o'clock. You're going to have a bad day, okay, if you try to. Address each question. If you especially have an online portal where you're submitting the application and there's a question that doesn't pertain to you, never leave it blank. Just put NA, because if you leave it blank, the computer might read that it is rejecting the application because it's incomplete. So just put NA, unless they specifically ask you to leave it blank. And whatever you do, have someone else look at the application. You don't want to submit an application that's full of grammatical reviews. These are some don'ts. I love, love, love templates, right? But don't use cookie cutter answers based on a template. You don't want to just copy and paste everything, right? Also, don't ask for too much money when approaching a funder for the first time. Now, most grants, they'll tell you how much the grant is for, $5,000, $25,000, but for many community foundations, they don't give you an amount. They expect you to come to them and let them know what it is that you're asking for. Never go in the first time and ask for like $100,000, because you're not going to get it. They don't know you. They don't know that you're a great steward of money. So I always recommend going in the first time, ask anywhere between $5,000 to $25,000. And then whatever you do, don't forget to edit. Now, remember I talked about the importance of meeting with the funder. How are you going to do that? Well, you get a letter of introduction together. It's going to include your organization, your statement of need, how you align to that company through the missions. You're not asking for money in this letter. This letter is only to meet with the funder to get that meeting, all right? And keep in mind, you can get a reference, but how do you know where to send it? Even if you get a name, right? You get the name from the 990. What you don't want to do is send to like info@abcfoundation.org. It'll go off somewhere and never return, okay? You want a real email address. And ladies, I've been giving you the tea. This is the teapot, okay? You want to make sure you have the right email address. This software tool is phenomenal. It's called getemail.io, and it will give you the email address of almost anybody around the world that works in an organization. I get so many emails from people in Italy and Germany and London that I need to do business with. It is amazing. And it's free for like maybe the first 10 to 15 emails. They give you like a trial for free, but use those 10 to 15 emails. And then I think it's about $60 a month. For me, it is like an incredible resource and so worth it. So I want to make sure that's put into the chat, because, oh my gosh, this is just incredible. So make sure you get that. Getemail.io. Now, what are we doing here? Grant research. How do you find the grants that are for you? These are your typical portals that you can find, the typical websites that you go to. The Foundation Directory Online is the largest source of grants in the US, right? It's about $50 a month. Instrumental.com is $200 a month. They give you the grant, the funder, the 990. The foundation director will only give you the names of companies. Grants.gov, we know those are for federal grants. The Lilly Foundation for any religious organizations, that's the largest funder for religious organizations in the country. Let's say you have a program that deals with education. Grantgopher.com. I love Grant Watch because they have so many last minute grants. If you're a minority organization, you need to know about urbanawarenessusa.org. They're Black owned and they have so many grant information, articles and emails that's going to be important. Now, Grant Watch is about $20 a week. Instrumental is $200 a month. Grant Gopher is free. Lilly Foundation is free. Urban Awareness is free. Now, you can sign up for additional services, but to get a lot of the grant information is free. So really quickly, this is the homepage of Grant Watch. Again, this is $20 a week. Is that, as you can see, you put in different information, your criteria. Are you a business, nonprofit, or individual? Type of grant, are you looking for federal grants or foundation grants? Your target population. Again, who are you targeting? Veterans, the homeless, K through 12, disabled. And then your subject. Is it education? I know there's typically fashion designers on my webinars. That's arts and culture, business and industry, financial. This is what you put on that left side. You see all those filters? You put in this information, you click a button, and literally out jumps a list of grant openings. So Grant Watch will give you not only the grant openings, they will give you the funders. So again, spend the $20, even if it's just for a week, and get a list of grants. Now, this is information for you that will lead you to get information about grants for women. You have to know about helloalice.com. It's the largest portal that will provide grants for-profit women's businesses. Facebook has a grant. Amber Grants for Women, they give away, I think it's $25,000 a month that they give away for women. National Association for the Self-Employed, they have growth grants. For women of color, you have the Fearless Fund and MasterCard grant. The Visa She's Next for Black Women Business Owners grant. FedEx has a small business grant. If you have any type of health and wellness company or organization or nonprofit, the Women's Sports Foundation, Grants for Women, I want you to go on because they also list so many grant opportunities and current grants for women. Let's say you don't want a grant. Let's say you want an angel investor. Go to 37angels.org. It's a group of literally 37 female angel investors, and all they do is invest in women-owned small businesses up to $150,000. That is a lot of money. Tory Burch Foundation, I Fund Women, and then Cartier, right? They have grants for women. So keep in mind, you're going to get a replay so that you get all this information. Now, really quickly, I want you to put into the chat, when you think of banks and money, what do you think of? Really quickly in the chat, what do you think about? Banks and money, banks and money. Loans, yes, Jessica. Loans, credit rating, debit, right? Got to find out how to get it, right? Loans, high interest, yes. Well, did you know that banks are some of the largest providers of grants, not just loans, grants to nonprofits and for-profit organizations? You've been talking to the wrong people. You don't want to go to your branch manager. They are probably going to try to get you a loan. You don't want to go to the loan officer. They're going to try to sell you on a loan. Go to the vice president. Find the vice president, typically of like community reinvestment or community affairs. You want to meet with that person and let them know what you're doing and that you need grant funding. And literally a young lady was listening to the webinar a couple of months ago, and she found her VP. Make sure it's a bank that has like a great footprint in your area. And she was able to find the vice president that works with different organizations, community organizations. And she applied for a $2.3 million grant, not loan, grant. So do not sleep on banks, okay? More homework for you. Find that bank or banks that have really good footprints in your area and connect with those VPs. Now, you need to be a part of women's business organizations just to be able to grow and to get more access to other grants. So here's several here, grants for women. I belong to Women Helping Women Entrepreneurs, and I know that you are representing today. It's a Facebook group of over 650,000 women entrepreneurs is in the Facebook group. I belong to Noble Cleveland, National Association of Women Business Owners, the American Business Women's Association, Female Entrepreneur Association. These are just really organizations that you can join that will help you be able to network to find even greater funding resources. So we're at the end. Don't go anywhere because I have a surprise for you. I told you that I've spent 15 years now writing grants. I knew that I wanted to help people out beyond just being able to write one grant at a time. And I thought about what was the easiest way to really help people literally fish for themselves, like teach them how to fish instead of fishing for them. I created a grant writing course. And this course literally is soup to nuts. It is how I was able to secure $17 million. It's going to give you a step-by-step path to funding, right? It will help you win your first $20,000, $30,000, $50,000, right? To either start that dream finally, or to maybe even grow. But what I mentioned to you before, please don't do this alone. Don't write these grants by yourself. Get the help, do it as part of a community, because you can do it better and faster when you're in a group, right? This course will help you be able to write grants at least 50% faster, right? And again, we're not writing 500-page documents. Some grants are 2 to 3 pages. You will never have to ask again, is there a grant for this? Because you're going to know how to find grants and find exactly what you need. Because I give you the best research techniques, right? Because you want to find a funder who literally wants to give you money. And I can't tell you this is working. Literally last week, a client got set in a meeting after 30 minutes, got the $30,000. Young lady took this course, has written 5 grants. I kid you not. She told me 2 weeks ago, she was able to write and win 5 grants for her mother's church, okay? Young lady, a month ago, wrote a grant for a colleague based on the information I provided, got $75,000, and then turned around and wrote a grant for herself. So this is working. I teach you how to write every part of the narrative. There's 12 modules, 35 lessons. I know people learn differently, so I start every lesson with a video. But you get the written lesson too. It's not just videos. You get the written lesson. You get your tasks, your planners, these really fun, silly quizzes. You get a whole workbook. And of course, I give you real grant examples. So you no longer have to wonder what a winning grant looks like. And every grant example that I include was based on a winning grant example. And then I do something that nobody else is doing. I literally give you a list of 400 funding organizations. So you're ready to go. You're ready to go. And I'm not one of those founders where you buy something from me and I disappear. I have a private Facebook group that you will become a part of. It is miraculous. I tell you, the students that are in this group are amazing because you come into the group if you buy the course, and if you need help, they'll give you help. If you want maybe part of your grant application reviewed, they will review it for you. I mean, it is really amazing. And on top of that, you have me as your coach, because you will get 1 hour of group coaching every single month, right? How much is it? Here's what it's worth. 12 modules, 35 lessons, the introductory videos, the 400 funders, the workbooks, the planners, and of course I have grant trackers. That's so important because you need to keep abreast of how you are creating and writing and applying for your grants. So here's the deal for you, which is an amazing deal, right? The course has been audited 3 times, so it's valued at $5,000. The regular price is $997. I reduced it to $497 for February. And because you decided to come on to this particular site, this particular webinar right now, it's one payment of $197. That's it. One payment of $197 and you're done. So most people think, okay, I have to pay $197 every month. No, it's one payment, but you have to use this code though. You have to use the code FEB22SALE, and I think that is being literally put into the chat. Yes, as we speak, right? It's literally 60% off, right? And something that you need to know, this course never expires. Look, I'm a small business owner. I know, right, that things happen. You buy a course, you may not start the course for the next week or the next 2 weeks. I don't put that pressure on you. The course never expires, but I'm here to help you through it, because at the end of this course, you're ready to go. So this is really for people who are ready to get grant money. Like if you're ready to get grant money, you're going to be ready to go. And just to completely ignore that February 5th, because that's not correct. You have the correct end date in the chat. So in the chat, you have 3 days. February 25th is when the date ends. So that just wasn't changed. So February 25th, that should be a 2 before there. February 25th is when it ends. There's your code, FEB22SALE. That will absolutely get you the price of $197, 60% off, right? You'll be able to get it. So what you'll see when you go in, because I don't want people to get confused. You'll see this particular screen, right? And then this is where you put in the code, have a code, look for that number, look for that information there, and then you put in your code and it will immediately take $300 off. Literally, it's not $497. People pay $497 for it, but you're going to get it for only $197. Put in your code, it'll be $197. And also I do offer, some of you are asking, I do offer one-to-one coaching, which is normally $495 an hour. But if you buy it, when you buy the course, it's only $195 an hour, because if you want that personal one-to-one meeting with me, that's fine. You'll get it at a huge discount if you buy the course. So one more thing I want you to understand, it is so important to start this journey now. I don't want you to be in the same place a month from now. Start the journey now. Why? Because some foundations only have funding while it lasts. So that's why Walmart will tell you, you got to get that application in as early in the year as possible, because we often run out of money by the time we get to even the second quarter of the year, because the money is allocated. So please start early. Please start now. The next coaching session that I'm holding is February 27th, and that's group coaching. So if you buy the course, you come in with all of your questions and you get them answered. So these are just some of the testimonials. Kim says, Linda's a master grant writing guru. Carla found it very easy, and it is. It really is an easy to understand course. And Kelly, she was the one that, she is on fire. She wrote a grant for $75,000 for her friend, and then she wrote one. And then Linda, right, she's come full circle. She wanted to be a professional grant writer, and she took the course, and now she is. So she is literally making money, earning money as a grant writer. And yes, you do get a certification at the end of the course. You'll get a certificate saying that you completed the course. So we're going to go into Q&A now. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and we are going to start with the Q&A. And so, yes, it's only $197. It's not per month, right? I'm just answering some of the questions. It's only $197 for the entire course. How long does a course normally take? It really depends, because you get a schedule. So you'll know if you, for example, take 2 hours a week to study, it'll tell you how long it will take for you to get through the course. If you want to devote 4 hours a week, so look at the schedule, determine how much time you have. But the course is fun because you're writing about what you love. So if I ask you to write about your history, you're writing about the history of your organization or your for-profit. So it's about what you're passionate about. So you really do have a good time going through the lessons, because you're writing about what you literally love and what you're passionate about. So it's just really a great opportunity. So it really depends on how much time you want to devote to going through the lessons. All right. Yeah, Hazel, this is a fantastic deal. So this is, I can't see your last name. it's told me, but you're asking for grant writing services. So I'm going to put my assistant's email address in the chat. So send me an email and let me know how I might be able to help you. So Adeline, do I have to start the course right away? That's the beauty of the course, okay? You start when you want to start. Like I said, I'm a small business owner. Like I know my time is crazy, okay? I may have something put down that I want to start to do, and I don't get to do it. So that's why the course never expires. When you pay your $197, that's it. You start. You literally start the course right away, and you come back to it when you want to, right? When you have time to. You can, I know people that pay $3,000 for a weekend grant writing course. After the weekend's gone, the teachers aren't there, the materials disappear after 3 months. No, this is $197. It's a $5,000 course. I'm giving it to you for little or nothing, and it's tax deductible because it's an educational expense. So absolutely. Okay. Right. So let me make sure that you have the right code. So that's going to be important. Let me make sure you have the right code. The code is FEB23 sale, right? FEB23 sale, or if you put in FEB22 sale, that one is correct too. So you can actually use either one. So don't worry about it. You can use either one, either FEB22 sale or FEB23 sale, either one, right? Either one is going to work for you, not a problem. And regardless of which one you use, it should take $300 off of the course immediately, okay? So that's the key. It should take the $300 off of the course immediately. So just make sure you see in the final price, $197, right? That is going to be key because that is the final price of the course. Or right, you can do the 2 payments of $115 over the course of 2 months, okay? So either one, make absolutely sure that you see either the $497, right? Or the $115. So if you want to pay over the course of 2 months, you can. And then that's $115 a month, right? So just want to make sure, everybody has the right amount. Okay. So 2 payments, if you want 2 payments, you can get 2 payments for sure. Not a problem. If not, that's what it should say. So just make sure that you have the right code, doesn't matter which one. So you will get, so this is not a CFRE certified course. I want to make sure that you're not going to get certification credits with this course. You'll get a certificate at the end saying that you completed this 12 module course. You will absolutely get a certificate, right? That you can put on your resume or you can provide it to someone for sure, because you will get the certification, right? But that is important. We're not a CFRE certified course, but let me tell you, through the 12 modules and the 35 lessons, you will be able to write grants and write them successfully. What key things should be included in our letters of support? This was awesome, great information. Thank you so much. So in the letters of support, you want people to talk about how long they've known you, what the relationship is, right? how they've seen your success, how they've seen your passion, what that relationship is. Maybe it's your pastor or community leader. They need to talk about how they know you and what they've seen of you in the community. They may know that you volunteer for organizations. Maybe it's an organization that you volunteer for. Okay, so it's all about showcasing how you are an upstanding person, that you have passion about whatever the project or the program is, and that you are deserving of money, right? So those are just a few of the things, right? Oh, I am so glad this has been helpful. So yes, you can still get the info by paying $115. Absolutely. So if you want to do the 2 payments, all you need is $115 right now. That's it. You just need $115. That's all you need. You'll pay it over the course of two payments. And if you pay the $115, you have full access to the whole course. Like, I don't drip. Like some people drip pieces of courses over a length of time. No, I don't do that, because you need to get started writing and winning grants. I give you what you need to get started right now. And for the 39 people that are left on this call, I want you to put into the chat, I am ready to get grant money. I am ready to get grant money. Please don't be in the same position. Please don't be in the same position a month from now saying, I heard about these grants. I knew they were available, but why is this person getting a grant? Why is this organization getting grants and I'm not getting grants? This is all you need. This is everything you need. And you have me as a coach. I've won $17 million. I can answer your questions and I can help you. So yes, Katrina, Joey, Jessica, Angela, Andrea, Dr. Alfie Wines, Katrina, Leslie, yes, I want to get grant money. It's time. And for $115, which sounds crazy to me, but I'm doing it, you can get started. So your 501c3, Leslie, apply for the 501c3. It's going to take 6 to 8 weeks. While you are applying for the 501c3, get your list of grants ready. Get ready so that when that 501c3 comes, you're ready to start submitting. So the best thing you can do is apply for the 501c3, and right now, start researching the grants. Get your list of grants ready. If you buy the course and you come into the Facebook group, we will help you with any questions that you have. If you come to the private group settings, okay, the private group settings, you come into the group, you can ask any question you want, right? You can get help from me. I will be your coach in that group setting. If you want the private one-on-one meeting, you can do that as well as $195, but you can come into the group settings, because I consider myself to be a servant leader. I am truly here to help you. There's too much money available for you not to get it. People that look like you and look like me are getting money every single day. I've gotten money from my own for-profit. So I know you can. I've gotten money from banks for for-profit clients. So the money is there. I showed you before, $90 billion, the money is there. Katrina, you have your 501c3. Excellent. You're ready to go. I don't need a 501c3 for grants, correct? You absolutely need a 501c3 for grants if you are a nonprofit. If you are a nonprofit organization, you need a 501c3 for grants. If you are a for-profit, let's say you're a sole proprietor, you have a partnership, you're for-profit, you don't need a 501c3. If you are a nonprofit, you need a 501c3. You will get the Facebook group as soon as you buy the course. You will get 3 emails. Look in your spam. You will get 3 emails. One of the emails will have a link to the Facebook group on it. You'll be admitted to the group. Look for the emails that you get, and please look in spam to get those emails. Crystal, you have your 501c3. You're ready to go. How do you get grants for is that for-profit organizations? It's the same way, it's no different. So I showed you how you go into the grant portal. Remember, I put a screen up for Grant Watch. You can go to grants. Grant Station is an excellent one for for-profits. Grant Station, you can go weekly. I'm going to put their grantstation.com, I think it is. Go to Grant Station. Let me make sure that is correct. Put in that you're a for-profit. When you go to these portals, they will ask you, are you a nonprofit? Are you a for-profit, or are you an individual? Put in for-profit, and then the grants will come up for for-profit organizations. I think that's right. I think it's Grant Station. Maybe it's Grant Station, but fool around with that a bit. It's close to that. They're perfect. They are great for searching for grants for for-profit organizations. But again, I worked with one for-profit. I was able to get her money from a bank, from a community foundation. That's another avenue for all of you to go to. Your community foundations, many of them will give to for-profit organizations, okay? So let me just check to see if there are any other questions, and then we are going to be done. Okay, I think it's Delia. So I put my assistant, I'm going to put it in again, assistant@lapov.com, and then you can set up an appointment with me, okay? Yes, 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 yes. This is what I want to hear. I'm ready to get grant money. Yes, and it's available to you whether or not you are for-profit or nonprofit. Don't believe that money is not there for you as a for-profit organization. People are getting it every single day. I promise you they are. So yes, 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 yes. I think I have answered all of the questions. The video will be available to you. Yes, it's being recorded as we speak. The video, yes, will be available tonight or tomorrow. Yes, yes, yes. All right, all right. So yes, you can put in LPB23 cell or LPB22 cell. Both are correct. Just make sure it takes off $300. Thank you, Sashi. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so I'm going down to the end because I think we're done with the questions. So I want to see you in the Facebook group, right? When you buy the course, you will be admitted to the Facebook group because I want you to get the help you need. Like I said before, I don't want you to do this alone. Please don't do this by yourself. Get the help from professionals that you need. And then you're going to come into not only a Facebook group, but we have Zoom group sessions. The next one is next week. So you're coming at a perfect time because not only when you have immediate admission to the Facebook group, but you can join the group session next week. So you'll be off to such a great start. Like I said, this money may not be available in May or June or July, especially the money from COVID-19 and the money from the George Floyd incident. I can't tell you how much money was created after George Floyd was killed. Oh my gosh, the organizations and the foundations did such a wonderful thing to create this money for minority organizations, for women organizations. The money is out there. And people who take this course, they are getting it, literally. I can't make this stuff up. I was literally talking to a friend yesterday, and she told me they had just received a $25,000 grant based on the information that she learned in the course. And I mean, they got this grant like a couple of weeks ago. So people are consistently getting grants. So you have to ask yourself, like, why not you? Like, why not you? What about a remote notary? Now, is that a person that notarizes documents? Is that what you're referring to? When you take the course, you won't have to ask, is there a grant for this? There's a grant for almost everything. And I just have to be honest with you. There's a grant for almost everything. Notary Public, yes. There's a grant for almost everything. The course will show you how to find the grants that you need. I'm DEI. So Dr. Wines, that's in my, okay, so that is perfect. Oh my gosh. If you're already in diversity, equity, and inclusion, because of the George Floyd incident, you are in a phenomenal space. Don't pass this opportunity up, please. I'm only getting the option for 2 payments of $115. Okay, that's not correct. So let me make sure that everything on here is as it should be. right? So everyone should have, there should be $497. Let me just go back and check to make sure the pricing is right, because I want you to be able to have the correct information, because I know not everyone wants to do the monthly payment, and you don't have to. So let me make sure. So go back in, and it should say, and I'm going to verify that this is what it says. All right, it should give you the option of the $497, and now you want to hit the drop down box. You want to hit the drop down box, and that's where you see the 115. So I want to make sure that you hit the little drop down box if you want the 115. But what you should see should definitely say the $497. Okay, the $497. So let me know if that is what you see. That should be what you're getting right now. The $497, right? That's your option. And then if you want to get the two different payments, you can get the two different payments. That's totally up to you. But I want to make sure, I just want to make sure you have the option. So you should have the option. So let me know if that's what you're saying. That is what should be showing up. You just, you never know with this technology, because it can just be a little crazy at times, a little crazy. So that is what you should see. So let me know if you have any other questions. I have just a few more minutes where I can take just a few more questions if you have any more questions, right? So just let me know. All right. Okay, right. So that's what it should be. Right, that's what you should see. You should see the $497. Oh, and yes, it is self-paced. That was the other question that I had. It is self-paced, right? So you go at your own speed. Absolutely, you go at your own speed. So no, the payment is monthly, not weekly. No, it's either $497, and then you put in the code, and it's $197 for a one-time payment, or you get 2 monthly payments, right, of $115, right? So I think we got that. Okay, so it's showing what it should show now. Grants for e-commerce, yes. Yes, grants for e-commerce absolutely are available. I'm not sure what Amazon FBA. I'm not sure what the FBA is. So let me know what the FBA is. How long should it take to write your first grant? It depends, Katrina. Some grants are 3 and 4 pages. So I would think that would take you a couple of days, right? Other grants are going to be a little bit longer. I wanted you to know. Okay, Terry says if you hit the get started, it will take you to the top of the page, and it will go to a new page. It brings you up the correct payment options. So you should have the correct payment options now. It should give you $497 in case you put in the code. Now, if you hit the drop down for $115, you don't need a code, because that's the price. You don't need a code, right? Because it's $115 once a month for 2 months. You don't need a code. You only need a code if you want to make the one payment of $197, because the price is $497. And I'm taking off $300. So $497, put in the code, it'll be $197. If you want to make 2 payments over 2 months of $115 per month, just hit that, and you don't need a code, and everything should go through. All right, so I hope I answered. I'm sorry if that was confusing about the payments. I think the technology was doing something a little funky. So I think that was corrected. Yes, you can get the recording. So please, I want you to check. Make sure you have put into your safe senders list these 2 emails, because you're going to get a link to the replay from one of these email addresses. So I want you to make sure you put them in your safe senders. hello@grantwritingfornonwriters.com, and then lpv@lapov.com. Please put those into your safe senders email list, because I want you to get the replay. I want you to get everything. And what I do, I don't charge for the replay. And I also, not only do I not charge you, but I give you the chat, right? So you'll get the chat and the recording. Fulfillment by Amazon, selling on Amazon website. So it depends on what you're selling and what you're trying to do, right? So when you apply for a grant, what are you selling? What are you using? Like, is it, inspirational materials? Is it like, it depends on what you're selling. So you'll have to be more specific about what it is that you want to do and how you want to be able to make money via e-commerce. Oh, Dr. Wines, thank you so much. Any grants to renovate a building? Yes, so there are definitely grants that you can get to renovate buildings. Yes, 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 yes. All right, so make sure you put those 2 emails into your safe senders list. I want to thank everybody for joining me today. And oh my gosh, I hope to see you in the Facebook group. I hope to see you in the group coaching next week. This is such a great time for you because you can hit the ground running, because I hope you came here because you're serious about getting grant money. I don't want you to be in a position where everybody else is around you getting money and you're not getting, because there's no reason why you can't get it, right? So thank you so much. I hope to see you in the Facebook group or next week in the coaching session. I'm in the Facebook group all the time answering questions too. So you'll see the other students in there. I have professional grant writers in the Facebook group. I want to thank everybody. I know you could have been anywhere else today at noon and you chose to be with me. That's why you're getting this special deal. So thank you so much. I'm Linda Peavy. I am the founder of LaPov Consulting and the course of Grant Writing for Non-Writers, Keys to Winning Grant Proposals. And I thank you so much. And make sure that you get the course so that you can get on the right track to getting this money and stop bootstrapping, going in your purse, asking friends and family. You can do this. You can do this. Thank you so much. And I hope to see you inside the course.